Howdy. Welcome back to Dion Talk. I'm here with Beth Traverso, somebody else who is probably beyond financially free, but still working because that's weird. But today I want to make a video on how long did it take for us to reach the, people call it a millionaire status, but when your net worth passed $1 million.
Yes.
So to start that, I want to start with what was our starting positions. For me, in 2008, I had made it to 40 without ever having $1,000 in the bank. I had been laid off from a police department and went through a divorce, became a single parent with 3 kids, and found out about $89,000 in bad debt in my name that I didn't know existed until the divorce. So that was my starting position, except I was also starting a new job at a truck driving school, only making $17 an hour. What was your starting position?
So I purchased my first house as a house hack in Seattle in 1995. I had just turned 21, and I was working as a banquet waiter, making probably pretty similar, around maybe $15, $17 an hour. That was how I first got started. I purchased my first investment property in 2002, and that was, so there's about a 7-year gap between when I purchased my first property and the second one. And from there, I continued building my real estate sales business, and I started purchasing other properties for investment around between that 2002 and 2005-06 era. And that's when I met my husband, and he and I both had multiple properties at that time, and we combined, and that's when, boom, we realized, hey, we're millionaires. It's not one of those things like you wake up feeling different. Like when I was a kid, we never had any money, and I thought, a millionaire, you have like all this money sitting in a pile or something, or just like in your bank account, you know, where you can just like log on and see millions of dollars in there. But that's not how it is when you own real estate or investments. It's just the values go up and down and fluctuate over time. When Dion asked me, when did you become a millionaire? I'm like, well, the first time or the second time? There's two different, I became a millionaire twice.
So the first time you started investing in real estate in the 90s, and you had some rentals, and your spouse, when she got together, had rentals, and you reached millionaire. Yeah. Did you know it when you did it, or did you look back and look at your finances?
I didn't know it when I did it. I wasn't tracking it, and all of a sudden I was like, oh wait, millionaires. So isn't that awesome?
It seems like one of the things that's consistent with the people that I know who are millionaires is that they weren't tracking it, and it wasn't a goal. It was an accidental byproduct of doing something else really well. So I've only done it once, and I'm hoping that's how many times I have to do it. Yeah. What happened with you that made it something you had to do again?
Right, so the 2008 through 2012 crash happened, and values tanked. It didn't happen overnight. It happened slowly over about 4 or 5 years between 2008 and down. Thankfully, we didn't lose any properties, so it really was just paper losses. The good thing about having cash flowing real estate is it doesn't really matter. It only matters if you're going to sell. And we weren't planning on selling. I've always been a big proponent of buy and hold. And so it was psychologically a little damaging to go from, oh, we thought we had a lot of money and now we don't, but we still have the asset, we still have cash flow. It didn't really make much difference to my everyday life.
So a lot of people talk about investors being afraid of a housing crash. As a buy and hold investor, when you focus on cash flow like you did, it actually doesn't matter. Did your cash flow go down?
No, the cash flow did not go down.
So net worth changed, and we actually didn't care. And one thing it probably did is gave you some options investing and choose assets that were costing you less than what you were paying 3 or 4 years earlier.
True, yes. And one thing I can say is it also did help me in my real estate career, because real estate as an industry suffered tremendously during those years, and it really helped me pivot as a self-employed real estate salesperson that didn't have a day job. I've never had a corporate job, so I never had to escape the corporate world. I've always had to create my own job, and having that cash flowing real estate, we were able to keep our house, you know, keep my kids taken care of and everything else during that tough time.
So one of the things that made it a little easier to reach the millionaire status was not paying attention to net worth, knowing that it's kind of a fictitious number, and that when something like a housing crash happens and you're focused on cash flow, it really doesn't matter. For me, I didn't know that I had reached that level until I was making a video, trying to figure out which happened first, $1 million in debt or $1 million in net worth. And actually, both things happened in the same transaction. Almost a year before I was doing the research, I had no clue that I had reached millionaire status or had a net worth there. And right now, net worth is around $3 million for me, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I focus on cash flow. So in the comments below, let me know when this airplane goes by and you can hear me again. How long did it take you to reach a net worth of more than $1 million? Or if you have a plan to do that now, how long do you think it's going to take?
One thing I want to mention too is that the second time I became a millionaire was about 2013, 2014. Again, I'm not really exactly sure because it's not like I marked it on my calendar, but that's when values recuperated. And then also just having that time under my belt and more equity to play with and more cash flow, better income, all these things happened that helped make it so I could purchase more real estate. And so for me now, really what it is a tool that helps me purchase more assets that will ultimately provide more income and also help me sleep better at night, knowing that I have more options. Self-employed person, real dependent, markets go up and down. I have not only myself and my family to support, but I have my team members and my employees as well. And so just having all of this to support me gives me a better quality of life and helps me provide for those in my circle better as well. So the being the millionaire is it's a cool thing, but it's really just sort of maybe a bragging right thing. It's not anything that ever changed my life the first or the second time as far as like that specific number. Having the assets and having the cash flow and having that financial security is monumentally life-changing, so don't get me wrong, but that particular moniker or gold star, you know, it's cool, but that in itself didn't change my life that day, one day versus the next day.
Well, the one thing that has impacted your life is the cash flow.
Oh.
If people can realize that financial freedom doesn't come from a number or a net worth, it comes from cash flow. In 2008, when the housing crash happened, a lot of real estate agents, because transactions crashed, lost everything.
Yes, they did.
Right now, in 2022, we are experiencing a housing crash in transactions. We're down 50% of the transactions we were seeing. So if somebody was a real estate agent right now, or somebody has a W-2 job right now, my biggest fear is for the people who haven't been buying cash flowing assets and are going to be impacted by something like a recession. Whereas an investor who has cash flow looks at a recession and says, opportunity.
Yes.
So someday I'm going to have Beth come back and do a video on if you were starting right now today with no assets, how would you reach millionaire status doing it now in today's current market? But not today. Until my next video, thanks for coming to my Dion Talk.
How'd that go?
And this is how you end a video.